Starting off this October hobby update with some completion dopamine hits. I painted and based my last warband of my Army of the Dead. These are from the Dead I've Done Harrow box I got for my birthday, and they've been sat assembled for quite a while now. So here are the finished 12 warriors to be led by a Herald of the Dead. Once they were done, I added them into my 2000 plus point army I had set up for my army showcase video, which of course, link up there and down in the description. It's a good thing too that this is going to be my last warband for either a while or forever. 2000 points should be enough really, shouldn't it? But there is a rabbit hole to go down, there is the Path of the Dead tunnel to go down, with using the actual King of the Dead and having King Theoden as a captainless warband, so that means I need to buy more Rohan models from eBay to make the Rohan of the Dead up. Then I'll have 10 warbands, but let's not go that far. So assuming that this is my last warband, it's good because I've only ever used this green for my mist. And as you can see, I'm nearly out. I'm peeking through the bottom. So for one last time, as I show you some mist. That was at the end of October. Now taking you to the beginning with some D&D preparations. We had session 0 in September and I had my Dwarf Paladin painted up back in August. He has the merchant background as part of the guild merchant. That gives the option for a mule and cart, which made sense. I've been travelling the north of the continent, going from farm to farm and trading for 10 years, so I can't just be walking that. So I got out the wooden sticks and dowels. I had some metal shields back from when I got the resin faceless demon and dragon, and I unboxed those a good while back. They were too big for the 25mm Middle Earth models, so they've been sat in the drawer since then. 3 of them were wooden planked and already looked like wagon wheels. The rest were not, but one was plain, or in shield terms covered with skin and painted. But in wood terms, no wooden planks. So I scraped them in with a knife and it did the trick. 4 wooden wagon wheels. I wanted a nice sure stick and didn't see the point of pinning, so I got out the JB Weld again and splodged that on. I used PVA bond on the wooden pieces to make the base of the cart. I had quite a fiddly time getting the sides to stay put, but with a good amount of glue it dried in a relatively good spot. It's only a cheap cart so it can be a bit shoddy. I used matchsticks for the front bit and they did get in the way of my being able to fit the 28mm base in, but he can sit on top of it, so all good. I could have done it at the bottom, but there wasn't much real estate to hold it in place with the axle being close to the front. Time to paint it. I thought it would be quicker to use a brown oil stain wash on the wooden bits, and then I painted the wheels with Rhinox hide and lead belcher, leaving the rims the black prime. Where the glue had made the wash dry a different shade to the wooden parts, I dry brushed Rhinox hide to blend it in better. As you can see, I didn't have a mule, but I did have a boar, which fitted physically and would do for now. I then tested the defense capabilities of my wagon as cover. Being a 4 to 5 foot dwarf has its benefits. Later that month, my Dead Man's Hand general purpose wagon arrived, along with a bunch of other western minis for future Wild Imaginary West projects. It came with 2 horses to push it, and I took the opportunity to green stuff some bigger ears and turn him into my mule, which, the rein attachment saddle thingy bits, lined up perfectly to my front attachment thing. As you can tell, I know wagon terminology. Something that I wasn't ready for during session 0 was what's your mule's name, so I've been thinking about that, and I've settled on a pun. Dareth Mule. But to not have a pun go to waste in D&D, he is called Dareth because he has the branding on the side, DRF. And what that stands for, and what that means for me to have a mule from, I've left up to my DM. For branding, I wrote on with an ink pen, which definitely is something I'm going to try more. I'm sure that's an easy way to do eyes for one, and I want to do some tattoos on my barbarian dwarves as well. Speaking of those dwarves, which were part of my original idea for my character's backstory, which I abandoned and in part abandoned the 13 dwarf minis I converted. I was at work and I thought about how I got the minis and a 3-page backstory and with lore and history on the clans which are a part of it, and thought, well, I could make that into a book, or at least a short story. After spending a good few years on my passion project of writing some 4th-age stories in the style of Tolkien, I think it would be an interesting idea to write my own and see how I do with that. So that's been going on in the background, and along with that same work thought, I thought I could make a board game with the minis. So I've got a bunch of voice recordings from me out in the van with ideas on what dice to use, what the board's like, what's some rules. And then I got home, got the minis out, got my dice tray, got some dice I'm planning to use, and I had a little playtest and wrote the rules as I went, had some ideas what changed from the voice notes, and I ended up with 21 A7 bits of paper, front and back, which were not organised at all, because as I was playing I was like, what's that rule again? So I grabbed that one and was like, So as I've been writing the rules into a neater form on A5 bits of paper, ready to eventually be a PDF, it has had some issues, but we'll get to that in a future video. But for now, that was what I got up to in between my videos of October. Make sure to like, helps the video out, leave a comment, what have you been up to in October, and of course, and as always, subscribe, and if you like what I'm doing here, if you like the channel, share it with any fellow hobbits, and I hope this has been quite cool. See you on the next one.
It's quite cool.